Hello, my friends, and welcome to the next episode of Storytime. I know it's been a while since our last meeting, and I missed you all very much. I've been very, very busy with my work and other things, but here I am again. So let us go ahead and read a story. Today's story is by a Russian writer, Alexander Kuprin. Kuprin lived and wrote in the late 19th, early to mid 20th century. Hi, Button. Are you gonna use this time to hang out with us and do story time? He was a writer, a journalist, a traveler. Like many of his fellow writers, he traveled all over the country, and some traveled around Europe, and tried many jobs, from acting to investigative journalism to being a cargo hand on boats going with various loads, various goods up and down the rivers of Russia. So really interesting life. He's done everything, been everywhere. Really interesting guy, and if you can find some books about him, I strongly recommend it, because his was a kind of life that you read about and think, well, I would read this in a book. It sounds like a novel. Well, his life is very much like that. So today we are going to read a story he wrote from the standpoint of his dog. His dog was named Sapsan, and he obviously loved his dog very much. And I mean, he loved animals in general. He has many wonderful stories for children and grown-ups about animals, about anything from small dogs to elephants and everything in between. So this is about his own dog, kind of a doggy diary, and he wrote this before it was cool and appeared on YouTube. So, without further ado, let us go ahead and read this lovely story called Sapsan. I am Sapsan the 36th, a large, strong dog of a rare breed, reddish tan in color, 4 years old, weighing 210 pounds. Last spring, in someone's huge barn, where there were a few more than 7 of us dogs, I can't count to more than 7. They hung a heavy yellow pancake around my neck, and everybody praised me, but the pancake didn't smell like anything. I am a Medellin, Russian Mastiff, a breed recently revived by crossing an English Mastiff with a Moscow Shepherd. In the ancient time, people were entertained by putting bears against strong dogs. My ancestor, Sapsan II, took a black bear by the sweet spot, that is by the throat, and threw him onto the ground to be finished off by the chief royal kennel overseer, all in the presence of the terrible king Ivan IV. In his honor and memory, all the best of my ancestors were named Sapsan. Few titled counts can flaunt such a pedigree. According to knowledgeable people, our blood is blue, which is one thing we have in common with human nobles. The word Sapsan is from the Kyrgyz language, and it means hawk. The most important creature in the world is master. I'm not his slave or even a servant or watchdog, as some may think, but his friend and guardian. People, these strange animals who walk on their rear paws and are naturally naked, so they have to wear other animals' skins to keep warm, are ridiculously clumsy and helpless. But they do possess a mysterious and magical kind of power over us, which is a bit scary, and master most of all. I love this strange power in him, and he values my strength, agility, courage, and intelligence. And that is how we get along. Master enjoys praise. When he and I walk down the street, with me usually at his right leg, we always hear flattering remarks. What a dog! A "Oh, lion! What a marvelous face!" and so on. With nary a move do I let master know that I hear these praises and know what they're about. But I can sense his funny, naive, and proud joy traveling to me down an invisible thread. Silly man, let him have his fun. I love him even more for his little weaknesses. I am strong. I am the strongest dog in the world. Other dogs know this from the distance by my smell, my appearance, and my gaze. I too can see their souls lying before me on their backs with their paws sticking up. Strict rules of canine combat forbid me from touching anyone who surrenders, and I can never find a worthy opponent for a good fight. And I do so much want to fight sometimes. Although the large brindled Great Dane from the next street stopped leaving his house entirely after I taught him a lesson for lack of manners. When I pass by the fence where he used to live, I no longer sense his smell or hear his bark. People are not like that. They always crush the weak. Even master, the kindest of people, sometimes hits others, small and fearful, with words that are not loud but cruel. And I become embarrassed and pity those others. I quietly poke my nose at his hand, but he doesn't understand and shoos me away. In terms of mind reading, we dogs are 7 and many more times more adroit than people. In order to understand each other, people need outward differences, words, changes in the voice, the gaze, and the touch. But I understand their souls very easily, merely with my inner sense. I feel through mysterious, unknown, and tremulous paths as their souls blush, go pale, shiver, envy, love, or hate. When master is not at home, I know from afar whether he is happy or not, and then I rejoice or become sad. They say about us, such and such dog is good and the other one is mean. No, only a person can be mean or kind, brave or cowardly, trusting or secretive. Dogs, living under the same roof with him, take after him. I allow people to pet me, but I prefer when they hold out an open hand. I don't like a paw with claws curled up. Multi-generational canine experience teaches us that such a paw might be hiding a rock. Master's littlest daughter, my favorite, can't say rock and says walk. A rock is an object that flies far, hits the target, and makes it hurt. I have seen that with other dogs. Naturally, no one ever dares to throw a rock at me. People speak such nonsense when they say that dogs cannot stand human gaze. I can stare into master's eyes all evening, but sometimes we dogs turn away in disgust. Most people, even the young ones, have eyes that are fearful, stupid, and mean, like old, sick, jumpy, spoiled pugs. But children's eyes are clear, bright, and trusting. When children pet me, I barely keep myself from licking one of them over their pink noses. But master doesn't allow it and sometimes even threatens me with a whip. Why? I don't understand. Even he has his idiosyncrasies. On the subject of bones, who can doubt that it is the most enthralling thing in the world? The veins, the porous, tasty inside, the marrow. I can keep myself entertained working on a bone from breakfast till dinner. I think a bone is always a bone, even if it's old. Therefore, there is never a bad time to enjoy it. That is why I bury it in the ground, in the garden, or in the vegetable patch. Besides, my thinking it, if there used to be meat on it, and now there isn't, why couldn't it grow back again? Whoever someone, a person, or cat, or dog, passes by the spot where a bone is hidden, I get angry and growl. What if they find out? But more often, I forget the spot myself and then get moody for a long time. We have a fluffy cat named Kate at our house, a very arrogant and bold creature. She carries herself so haughtily as if the entire house and everything that is in the house, people and things, belongs to her. She's always the first to attack strange dogs, grabbing them by the face. She and I get along well. In the evening, when I get my bowl of porridge with bones, I'm always happy to let her come over and nibble with me. She knows the rule. Don't touch the bones. She remembers it very, very well, since I raised my voice at her once. I follow the other side of the bargain. Don't touch the cat's milk. But I don't like playing with her. She invariably gets careless and scratches my nose. And I can't stand it. It makes me sneeze and rub my nose with my paws. A few days ago, little one invited me to her room and opened her little armoire. There, on the bottom shelf, lay our cat on her side, being suckled by an entire pile of funny blind kittens. Truly, Sapsan, aren't they delightful? Little one said. Truly, I like them very much. I sniffed 2 or 3 of them, licked them, and rolled them over with from their tummies onto their backs. They peeped like mice and were warm and soft, helpless and indignant. The cat became anxious, lifted her head, and said in a pitiful voice, "Oh, please, Sapsan, do be careful. Do not step on them with your paw. You're ever so very big." Silly thing, don't I know better than that? Today, Master took me along to visit a house we have never been to before. There, I saw a true miracle. Not a puppy, but a real grown dog, but so small it could easily fit in my mouth, perhaps even with enough room to circle around before settling down. The entire thing, with her thin little legs and bulging, moist black eyes, looked like some sort of a shaken little spider. But I'll be honest, I have never met a more fearsome creature. She attacked me cruelly and yelled at the top of her lungs, "Get out of my house right this minute, or else I'll rip you to pieces. I'll pull off your tail and your head. Out! You'll stink like the street." And then she added a few other words that I became afraid, tried to climb under the sofa, but only my head fit, and the sofa slid across the floor, and then I hid in the corner. Master laughed. I looked at him reproachfully. He knows very well that I will not back down before a horse or a bull or a bear. It's just that I was struck and horrified that such a tiny little bit of dog could erupt into so much meanness. Next to Master, the person nearest and dearest to my heart is Little One. That is what I call his daughter. She is the only one who gets away with pulling my ears and tail, riding me or harnessing me into a cart. But I bear it all and even pretend to enjoy it, squealing like a 3-month-old puppy. I am overjoyed to lay still in the evening when she becomes tired after a day of running around and falls asleep with her little head against my side. When we play, she doesn't get offended when I knock her off her feet with my tail. Sometimes, when she and I play, she starts laughing. I like it very much, but I can't do it myself. Then I jump up with all 4 feet in the air and bark as loud as I can. And then someone takes me by the collar and takes me outside. Why? One summer, we were staying in the country. Little One had only just started walking and was as funny as can be. 3 of us went for a walk, she and her nanny and I. Suddenly, everyone was in a panic, people and animals. A dog was running down the street, black with white spots, its head and tail hanging down, covered in dust and foam. The nanny ran away screaming. Little One sat down on the ground and started crying. The dog was headed straight at us. From the distance, I could smell the acrid smell of madness and limitless insane anger. My fur stood on end with terror, but I mastered it and blocked little one with my body. This was no longer a fight, but death to one of us. I shrunk, waited for precisely the right moment, and knocked the spotted dog to the ground in one leap. Then I lifted it up by the scruff and shook it. It dropped to the ground and didn't move, flat and not at all frightening. But little one was very afraid. I took her home. She held on to my ear the entire way and leaned against me, and I could feel her entire little body shaking. Do not fear, my little one. When I'm with you, not a single animal, not a single person in the world will dare hurt you. I do not like moonlit nights, when I look at the sky and have an intolerable desire to howl. I feel as if someone big, bigger than Master, is looking at me. Someone Master calls eternity or some such. That is when I vaguely sense that my life too will end someday, as do the lives of other dogs, bugs, and plants. Will Master come to me then, at the end? I do not know. I would like that very much. But even if he doesn't, my last thought would still be about him. And that is the end of Sapsan by Alexander Ivanovich Kuprin. I hope you enjoyed it. I like it. It's a lovely story, and I think he was a lovely dog. I wish I could have met him. Hopefully, our next story time segment won't be quite so far off. I'll try to manage my time better. Meanwhile, thank you for watching. Thank you for following and commenting, and I'm hoping to see you again soon.